What's up to all the listeners out there? I hope you guys are doing good. I'm Dwarakji Reddy, a student in JIRS, a model, and now a podcaster. Welcome to The Bold Talk, my first episode. And don't forget, guys, this episode is also on Spotify and Wink. The link is in the description. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, that's at Dwarak2003. So, in this episode, we have a guest, a dentist by profession, but now works towards the Zero Garbage Initiative, one of the main drives in HSR layout. She goes from house to house, lane to lane in spreading awareness on sustainable waste management. So without any further ado, let's call upon Shanti Tumala ma'am. Can you give me a brief introduction of yourself and what is the work you do for the society?
Yeah, I'm actually Dr. Shanti, a dentist by profession. After practicing dentistry for 10 years, that's when I shifted into waste management. And I am the founder member of HSR Citizen Forum, an NGO which works in general for sustainable environment, but in specific on waste management. So when I joined it, I was alone, but the team joined because like-minded people are there to do the good things. They joined me and we formed as a team HSR Citizen Forum. So HSR Citizen Forum will implement all the waste management initiatives in HSR layout, one ward of Bangalore. But later I joined a team called Solid Waste Management Roundtable, which is a city level team, all of sustainable practitioners join together to bring this change across the city. So whatever policies the government brings or whatever rules are there on the paper, for them to come on ground, there should be a team. So in ward level, it is HSR Citizen Forum, and at city level, it is Solid Waste Management Roundtable. So this is the introduction.
Ma'am, what dragged you into SWM, Solid Waste Management?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. Everyone is curious to know how come from a dentist to an eco-warrior. Yeah?
Correct.
So this is something which is not my passion, neither my subject what I studied. I was dentist, I was busy with my practice, my patients and my family. But one fine day I was sitting in a balcony and sipping a cup of coffee. That's when I saw a garbage auto in front of my house. The garbage collector is standing in between the waste and he's trying to pick something. That made me curious to see what is this guy doing in the garbage? Why is he standing in the garbage? So that moved me a lot. They're also humans, but just because they are poor, are they segregating the garbage which we educated are mixing it? So that made me think, where is this guy taking this garbage? I followed the truck and all such vehicles are dumping everything into a huge vehicle compactor. So all such compactors are going to the landfill. And when I visited landfill, that is the day I changed my mind that, education has no value, no meaning if we continue to dump the garbage into the landfills where villages are suffering. So I had tears in my eyes when I saw villagers around the landfill suffering in misery because of our mixed garbage which we are sending every day out of Bangalore. So that made me think, but waste management is a stream which I was not educated. I have no experience, no idea at all. But I decided to learn step by step. I failed. Initially I failed, but I learned with experience. That was a strong, very tough decision for me to give up my profession, which I practiced for 10 years and enter this field of waste management.
Ma'am, were you supported while educating people on waste management, because it's a huge step to take and people don't usually start believing in stuff. They're skeptical about stuff. So were you supported?
Initially it was a big challenge. When we went giving awareness door to door, we faced a lot of criticism. A lot of people ridiculed us, saying, why should we segregate? We pay taxes. Why not government collect everything and segregate? And who are you to question? You are a citizen. Who are you to question us? Who are you to tell us to segregate? But initially we had a lot of patience to explain them why segregation, how the landfill looks, what are the consequences of mixing garbage and everything. And the people who ridiculed initially were the ones who understood our intention behind and then started supporting us. But initial challenges, I'm glad that I did not give up. Initially everyone said, you alone, what difference can you make? It's a huge city and nobody listens to what you're saying. You alone, what difference can you make? But I believe, when you believe in something strongly, you don't give up. So that made me continue, because my visit to landfill was a very strong seed in my mind, which I continued to do, and the team is a great support, because without a team I wouldn't have been able to do it. So now the support is huge. Everyone supports, the resident welfare associations, the elected representatives, everyone supports now because they know the intention behind this initiative. Now I get support from everyone.
Ma'am, as you know, the youth play a major role in the society, and that's what this podcast is all about. Is there any way we can contribute for this movement?
Yeah, of course. Youth, I have a strong, belief in youth and their energy. The energy is amazing. Just that, you transform that energy, divert that energy towards this movement. It is definitely going to help, because the fact that you as a youth have chosen this topic of waste management for your podcast, that itself is a change which I really appreciate, because youth should not think that this is something somebody else will come and solve. No, it is we who have to step in and take the responsibility. I just want the youth to feel that sustainability is a cool thing. It is not about using disposables as a cool thing anymore. Sustainable living is a cool thing. You should make that a cool thing that everyone loves to follow, and they should set an example. Youth should set an example, not because they're doing a favor for anyone. It is because if you set an example towards sustainability, it is this generation and the next generation is going to enjoy the fruits of it. So I have a lot of faith that youth can really take up, and I see a lot of changes now that youth feel that it is important. Eco restoration is my responsibility. Before we would see on Environment Day, they just used to plant the saplings and do a photo op and finish it off.
Just for photos.
Yes, but now I see a lot of initiatives by youth where they conduct sessions, where they encourage students to participate in many initiatives and drives. That itself gives me a belief that okay, next generation, the planet is in a safer hands moving forward.
Ma'am, is this movement only done in parks and houses? Why can't it be done in school and universities? Like, a subject only for waste management, so that, the people, the youth which is coming up, they get to know whatever waste sustainability, and they, become a part of the subject.
Yeah, it's an excellent idea. Our education system today, unfortunately, we study about recycle, we study about reuse concepts in science. But do we follow? Are we following? No. So it's a very good idea that it should be a part of your education system, not only in theory, in practical. So our initiative is not for parks and houses. It is of course for schools, colleges, universities. The main aim is to make the schools, make the colleges self-sustainable. Meaning it should be a zero garbage producing campus. So students can take up the responsibility of making their canteens or making their school a zero waste place. They can compost all the wet waste, whatever they generate in their school, and they can have a green patch of growing vegetables. Organic farming is something which is upcoming interesting initiative. So schools and colleges can grow their own vegetables or greens in their campus, and all the dry waste, whatever comes, can be sent for recycling, and they can have sessions on how to reduce the reject waste. So ultimately, every school should have a goal for themselves to make it a zero waste campus. Not only schools and colleges, even the corporates. Every employee thinks my job is to come to office and work for 8 hours and go. No, every campus, every house, every society, every ULB should become sustainable. Everyone should think about sustainability.
But don't you think, this movement should be only started in schools? Because we learn from schools.
Right.
We start from schools, we learn how to speak or whatever, like various subjects. So don't you think if we start from school, it will spread everywhere?
True. So we are late actually, but better late than never. Our generation skipped that learning. Seriously, our generation skipped that learning, and the mistakes or the damage, whatever is happening to the planet today, is because of that mistake. So I request the education system to be changed and inculcate that seed or passion and the drive or the initiative in that young age, where they catch up learning as a responsibility, waste management as a responsibility, not as a subject to get 90%, get 98% and qualify. No, it is a subject which has to stay with the student throughout life. So very good that schools should take up this as a practical learning. They form eco clubs, but everything is just namesake, or they request students whether you want to be a part of eco club. I feel it should not be a choice. It should be a mandate thing that every student comes through this course of learning sustainability. Then that student will turn up to become anything, whether he is a doctor, engineer, a scientist, whatever he becomes in life. But this learning of sustainability, what he has learnt in school, should remain throughout his life.
Ma'am, what are the various campaigns you're a part of?
Yeah. As a member of Solid Waste Management Roundtable, I'm a part of a campaign, very interesting campaign called 2 bin 1 bag. So there's a website, 2 is a number, 2 bin 1 bag. So that's a very simple understanding of waste segregation. It's like a traffic signal. So made it so simple that any child or any senior citizen can understand. You go to any city, we feel this 2 bin 1 bag should be mandated. Color coding of garbage, like how we see a red light in any city, you don't have to go back and learn what does the red light mean, what does a green light mean. Same like that in waste management, the 2 bin 1 bag system gives a clear picture of how to segregate your waste. So when you see the red bin, you understand, okay, this is hazardous. You see the green bin, it is equivalent to nature, oh, this is organic waste. So this 2 bin 1 bag system campaign has gone across the nation. We started it in Bangalore, but it went across the nation, and it's become a huge campaign where lakhs of people are following, taking up the easy blueprint of what is segregation, how to do it. And the second campaign is Swachhagraha. Swachhagraha has become a movement. The Swachhagraha idea has come from our freedom movement, which Lal Bahadur Shastri ji started when we had food shortage. He had called the nation to give up one meal, so that we can meet the need of the food. And the nation joined hands together, everyone from a hotel, from a restaurant, everyone joined hands and they gave up one meal a day. So that could solve the food crisis of the nation. Taking that movement as an inspiration, Swachhagraha is a campaign which asks every Bangalorean to take up a 1-week challenge of composting. Meaning 1 week of your wet waste you should hold in your house and compost. Swachhagraha teaches the importance of composting your half kg or 3/4 kg, whatever you generate at home. This movement has taken up to other states and has become a proud movement for everything. So Swachhagraha is one movement, and the third is Swachhagraha Compost Connect. Meaning whatever compost the urbanites are generating, we want that to be connected to the farmers. The compost should reach the farmers. So there should be a connect between urbanites and the rural farmers. So Swachhagraha Compost Connect connects the compost producers from the consumers of compost, who are ultimately the farmers. And the fourth initiative, I am a part of Trashonomics. Trashonomics is an interesting campaign called, Trash plus Economics. It is, as you told, a subject in the school. So that is a book written by author Archana, and it's an amazing book for every middle school child. If that child goes through that book and understands the waste management, he can never do a mistake in life. So that should be a compulsion in every school. It should be a part of the curriculum. Trashonomics should become a part of the curriculum. That's one campaign. And the fifth one is the Swachhagraha Kalika Kendra. So these are the campaigns which we strive day in and day out to push, so that many people understand what are these campaigns about. How can they become a part of this campaign?
Ma'am, I heard a lot about Swachhagraha Kalika Kendra. Could you throw some light on it?
Yeah, Swachhagraha Kalika Kendra is a very proud thing for all of us. It's a must-visit place for every citizen, not only of Bengaluru but other parts of the country also. So this is Swachhagraha Kalika Kendra we started in 2018 with the idea that composting should be a part of everyone's life, but we cannot go house to house to teach composting. So we wanted a school, a learning center, kind of a place where people come and learn about composting. When we initially started, everyone had a question mark in the mind. Is a school required to learn composting? But after we started, from 2018 till the pandemic started, we had regular visitors from schools, colleges, corporates, offices, like many people used to take appointments, book the slots and come and learn about composting. And surprising that we aimed at Bangalore, but people from other parts of the state, other parts of the country, different states, and people from abroad also visited Kalika Kendra and felt it interesting that many such initiatives should come. Composting should be a learning thing, a school kind separately for that. And we are very proud that after seeing this initiative, the government of Karnataka announced 30 more such centers across Karnataka. So a citizen movement, when it is started and taken up by the government and make it a policy, it's a very proud thing for any citizen. So I request all the listeners to do visit Kalika Kendra and learn about waste management and what is your role in that.
Ma'am, are these garbage workers affected anyway due to this pandemic?
Yeah, they did affect because all educated people, especially during the second wave, we had every other house who were tested positive, but I saw them notice that giving the waste regularly as usual without taking any precautions. That freaked me out, saying these garbage collectors, poor guys, cannot handle if they were tested positive. They cannot handle the health situations. Then how are they going to be safeguarded? So if there is a third wave, unfortunately, I request everyone to be conscious about, if you have a positive person tested in your house, do not give away your waste. Hold it for 10 days. It's not going to do anything for you. Once after 10 days, then you can give away your garbage to the garbage collectors, because when these guys come in contact with the infected or affected waste, they are not safe. They are not aware which house is positive. During the first wave, they used to mark every house saying this is positive or containment zone and all that. Second wave was so fast that by the time the people realized this house had a positive person, the next house had. So garbage auto collectors and drivers and helpers were affected because of this. So I request all the educated to be more conscious during such pandemics.
Ma'am, people think whatever we dispose is getting recycled. Is it true?
It's a very the fact that only 14% of what we generate is getting recycled. Only 14%. It's very hard truth to believe. But where is the rest going? Either the rest is getting burnt, or it is ending up in the oceans, or it is ending up in the landfills. But very unfortunate that we imagine that everything what we generate is getting recycled, so we can generate as much as we want. It's wrong. It's a myth. So I request everyone to understand the importance of refuse. Meaning initially you have to refuse. So that refusing whatever you don't need will bring the reduce concept.
Ma'am, refuse like?
Single-use disposable. Someone offers you a cup of coffee in a plastic cup or a paper, you refuse. For you to refuse that, you need to carry your own glass, which is also hygienic during this pandemic. So refuse first, then comes reuse. Whatever you can reuse, you have to reuse. Only then comes the recycling. Recycling is not the only solution for everything. Recycling just comes before landfilling. So that is just the previous step before landfilling. Recycling is definitely better than dumping everything in the landfill, but that should not be the first choice at all. So I request everyone to be the conscious consumers by understanding that everything what we generate is not getting recycled. For example, the multi-layered plastic, like what we eat, the Lay's packet, Kurkure packet, the chips packets, they have no recycle value at all. We think we are disposing properly, it is going to the dry waste, the municipality is recycling. No, it has no recycle value. Instead, it has to be transported 600 kilometers to a cement kilns and add there for co-processing, burning it to. So we have to be conscious consumers by understanding reducing is a first option, reusing is a second option. After reusing, repurpose them. For example, you have a thermocol box which you may not be able to reuse, but you can repurpose that as a planter box. You can plant saplings in that and grow on your terrace garden. So after reuse comes repurpose. Only when everything is gone, nothing can be done out of this, then the recycle comes. Today's world, people have forgotten the word repair. Anything which is spoiled, a mobile or any gadget or anything you spoil, you just, it is tempting for you to buy a new thing and dispose this. But this is a dangerous attitude that you can afford to buy. I can afford to buy a new thing, I dispose this. No. We have to learn to repair, because the world is not about affordability anymore. It is about sustainability. So even if you can afford to buy a new thing, we request people to understand why is it important to repair, reuse, repurpose before dumping it to recycling.
Ma'am, do you think this corona has helped for the reducing of pollution, garbage, everything?
Yeah, this COVID situation, the pandemic has definitely reduced the pollution in the form of vehicular pollution. The release of toxic gases from the vehicles, because everyone were forced to work from home, learn from home, schools have become online. So that has really reduced the pollution levels on the traffic. But COVID situation has increased the burden on waste management. The pollution for waste management during this pandemic has become multifold. I'll tell you how. Everyone started thinking that disposable is a choice which is hygienic and healthy. The people thought that, okay, if I go to a tea shop, if I drink a cup of chai in a steel glass which is reusable, that was a concept before. Maybe I get positive, so they feared. So they preferred the disposable paper cups, disposable glasses. And online food ordering has become huge. So unlike before, now restaurants were open for online delivery, and online delivery is all about plastic. So everything what we consumed through online has come with the plastic disposables, and that soil disposables cannot be recycled. So in that way, whether it is disposable masks, thrown irresponsibly in the dry waste, the disposable mask has to be properly, removed. The ear loops should be removed totally, and it should be disposed in a reject waste, which is domestic hazardous waste. It should never come in the dry waste. So whether it is in the form of disposable mask, whether it's in the form of disposable cutlery, the waste management, the burden on waste management during this pandemic has definitely increased.
Ma'am, you say plastic is also not good and biodegradable. What is the alternative for it?
It's very simple. We don't have to invent anything new. This is not a rocket science that we have to find alternatives, we have to find solutions. It's already there. Whatever our grandparents followed, we have to simply follow that. So my grandfather and my dad always had a cloth bag to them. I remember my grandfather as having a cloth bag always. Whether they go for shopping or not, whether they plan to buy anything or not, whenever they step out of the house, they had a cloth bag. So reusable culture is our Indian culture. We never had the concept of disposable. We have functions, we have celebrations at home. Our grandparents followed the concept of either reuse or biodegradable, meaning a banana leaf, which is nature's gift of biodegradable, not man-made. So banana leaf, they used to have food, and that becomes a food for cows, or it would get mixed in the soil. All those choices were sustainable choices. In between, somewhere we lost the concept of reuse, we lost the concept of learning from them. Instead, we followed a cool thing called other countries, disposable culture, including the diapers. You and me were not brought up, by using diapers. Always the cloth which is washed properly and sun dried. That was the culture we followed. The babies were healthy. When they grow up into adults, they were healthy. Now, from the other countries, we learned, okay, disposing whatever we use is a right thing, but it's a wrong thing. Babies using diapers today, they have a lot of chemicals, loaded with chemicals. They have super absorbent gels in the diapers and sanitary pads, which are made that way to absorb anything what falls in it. But they are chemicals which are so dangerous for health, and when they are disposed, they are going to stay on the soil for 500 to 800 years. Imagine how many generations pass through. So my request is that we have to just go back to our grandparents and learn from them how they lived a sustainable life without, what is sustainability? Without harming the resources and leave them for the next generation. We have to live a life which is a model, for our next generations to learn. If we keep on disposing everything what we use, very soon we are going to get drowned in the so-called disposable plastics. And as you all know that by 2050, oceans are supposed to be, expected to be filled with plastic. They are expected to have more plastic than the fish in the oceans. So imagine your generation growing up in that dangerous zone of everything polluted. So now is a step to look back what our ancestors followed. Everything, they were going to a restaurant. My grandfather used to take a container for sambar. So beautiful culture, our parents and grandparents taught. Somewhere we forgot that, and this plastic monster entered our lives. Plastic per se is not a monster, it's a very good innovative material which has good lightweight. The properties of plastic is very good, but the way we humans using as disposable culture, use once and throw, whether it is a plastic water bottle, whether it's a food parcel, you want to buy, go out and buy something non-veg, you take a box. So underlying statement is that we have to learn from our ancestors and grandparents, not from other cultures from different countries. So this is a proud thing that we have to celebrate Indian culture as reusable culture. Everything, be a conscious consumer.
Ma'am, this is my last question. What is the goal you want to achieve ahead?
I dream big, as our favorite Abdul Kalam ji told, dare to dream. So I believed in that from the beginning, and I dared to dream. I dared to dream that other countries had a fear of law. People fear to throw the chocolate paper in other countries, right? They keep it in their pocket. That fear should come in my country. That is my dream. And now it started showing up. Initially when I started a decade back, there's nothing called penalty for the defaulters. You throw garbage, there's no penalty. You throw in the lake, there's no penalty. You burn garbage, there's no penalty. I dreamt about getting that law enforcement in my country, and now it's happening in Bengaluru, that is in HSR and other parts of Bangalore. So my dream, my goal is every citizen living on this planet should fear law. If not by consciously they are conservators, or consciously they are watching themselves. If not consciously, at least the fear of law should make them stop doing the wrong thing. Whether it is mixing the garbage, whether it is disposing the plastic, whether it is burning garbage, the fear of law should come in my country for waste management is my goal. Second thing is, I want every person living on this planet to be a conscious consumer. Whether you are a student, whether you are an employee, whether you are a doctor, every being living on this planet should be a conscious consumer. Do I really need this, or do I want this? If you want this, you can refrain. You need it, you can buy it. It is about difference between need and want. If we keep on buying whatever we want just because you can afford, we go nowhere. If you need really, then you can buy. So I want the next generation to take up this responsibility of conserving the environment, being a sustainable practitioner. Learn every day. Every day you are a learner. So I do learn. I still do learn on how to grow different things, which I grow my terrace garden. So every person on this planet should become a conscious consumer, meaning they should be segregating their waste, they should stop using single-use disposables, they should be composting their waste, and they should be growing whatever they grow on their terrace, and eat whatever you grow to be a healthy person. So for me, success doesn't mean being rich alone. So richness doesn't give you success, nor success gives you richness. It is about being happy and healthy ultimately. Whether you are rich but not healthy, it makes no sense. So my goal ultimately is every person living on this planet is more conscious about conserving this environment so that the next generation is also safer. It's not we alone, next generation has to survive. So be a conscious consumer and do the right thing, not the easy thing. So my responsibility as an eco-warrior is to plant that seed of eco-consciousness in every person. So I am doing my job. Now it is the responsibility of the next generation, whether the seed becomes, it will sprout and become a huge tree and take up the responsibility, or it will be dying there. My responsibility is to plant the seed, and I am doing that flawless with 100% effort every day, trying to put that seed in many beings. So I hope it will grow up, sprout, and become a big tree.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving such an impactful message on waste management. It's been an honor, and as you told, you've planted the seed, and I'm pretty sure we'll grow and do our responsibilities for us and for the future generation. Do you guys want to join the proud movement of Swachhagraha? If so, me and ma'am are challenging you guys to compost your wet waste, which is generated from your house, for 1 week, and tag us on your Insta story and get an opportunity to visit Kalika Kendra and get more information about composting from the experts. And also visit the Swachhagraha website for more information for the composting challenge. And guys, don't forget to subscribe. If you want to chat with me, the Telegram link is in the description. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram. That's at Dwarak2003. That's all. Peace.